my God, everybody. It's the BC3 Amigos back from a little hiatus. Oh my God, we're back together, guys, after the conferences and everything and all of our travels. I cannot believe it. Welcome, everybody. It's just amazing. I can't believe we got together. Yes, it is November 8th. We took a little time off from Summit. Being in October was the big conference for Summit. And then some of us had some go lives and stuff. So we took a little break, obviously for October. But we're back in November. We're back together again since our last recording. And we figured you've got November and December before we hit 2025. We can't believe it. But guess what? We sat here, we talked about it. We didn't know what we wanted to talk about. We thought we'd talk about how everybody's October went. And then we're like, nah, let's not do that. So I think we picked, what was our topic?
Anything you want to talk about.
Oh, that's a great topic.
Potpourri. I thought it was
I like it. Potpourri.
Potpourri
for 200.
I think it's really confusing. You confused me a while ago because we're going to have 2025 coming up, right? And we're on version 25. So you can't just say 25. Is that the year or the version?
That's true.
I'm confused already.
That's true. But that's a great topic. Let's talk about some of the new wave. Let's talk about some of the stuff we've seen over the last several months presented to everybody at the big Summit conference that we just came back from San Antonio. We're going to talk about new things happening in 2025, obviously the year 2025. But why don't we pass it around? Why don't we go round robin and talk about things we like in 2025, and then we can go from there. We can just banter back and forth like we always do, and then we can end with some powerful information for what's going on in 2025, the calendar year, and what things people should keep track of. So I don't know, Kim, you want to start first? I think there's one topic we all love, and why don't you take that topic?
Well, I'm gonna digress a little bit because I was showing the new financial reporting row and column definitions. There's a whole bunch of them new in 25. And interestingly enough, a lot of my clients were like, well, we don't use financial reporting in BC. We do it in JET. And I'm like, quit using JET, quit paying for JET. Sorry, JET. You can use this now and Power BI. You pull up the Power BI things that just got released, and there's a balance sheet for 12 months, right? You've got, and it's all drill into, so you give somebody a Power BI license for $10 a month. They pull up Power BI. They can drill into any transaction from these dashboards and other reports. There's 74 Power BI reports that we have access to now. We go from 0 to 74 in split second. Fast.
Yeah, I was.
They're not just in finance.
No, that's right, Rob.
No, they're not. You really pretty much went from nothing to having, like you said, having 75 different reports covering finance, sales, inventory, purchasing, manufacturing. Projects. There's going to be other ones down the road. Don't get me wrong here. They are growing it. They have promised everybody. Everybody got a little snippet of them at Summit from Kenny, and hopefully maybe let's see if we can invite Kenny to give a show and tell on this.
That'd be good.
Maybe next month when it's quieter after they come off their conference tours that they're finishing up in November. But basically, having all of these now for the first time that we've never had the ability to have a predefined Power BI reports for us covering so many areas, and it gives you the detail you want as for somebody who's a manager, a supervisor, a CFO, a controller, a president. It covers everywhere. It's just amazing the KPIs, the data, the basic data that people are looking for out of the box, turnkey. Never has happened before in Nav or Business Central. It was amazing watching how many, just click on the list that you have here. You can go pretty much go crazy.
Well, and I think you said something that's important. It's really for that upper for management, middle, maybe upper management, it's not your operational reports. Those are still going to reside in Business Central. And you know what we forget all the time is all the different reporting capability we have in Business Central. We've got a lot of reports now that have Excel preview, where we get an Excel file with slicers and dicers already built in for our receivables, age payables. They're adding more and more of those. So that's helping the operational people as well. And people just don't take advantage of Excel layouts and analyze like they could. And so it's kind of going to be hard for you to say, well, I don't have enough reporting out of Business Central. You have so many options. But what I love is that out of the box, you're getting starting blocks, if you will. I think one of the things with Power BI, the reason people didn't have a lot of it is where do you start? Especially if you're not a big shop where you have an IT specialist, right? Or a Power Platform, Power BI specialist. For the average Joe out there, it's like, I don't know how to get started here. So now there's no excuse for that because you've got things that you can take and then, look at, see how it's built and go from there.
That was one of the big things that I did with Power BI. It used to take forever to get connected. You had to do all this, setup stuff. So yeah, the fact that you now sign in and you're there, great. I mean, looking forward to that.
But tagging off of that, I think what was also cool is now that we've got this pool of Power BI reports, we also took some of the base reports and they added new for the financial reports because obviously we're all financial people. But thinking about our users, we've got some new definitions that are coming out in 25 dot. So, there's, basically there are new row definitions, 12 column new definitions, creating 25 new reports just on the financial report side, that the ability to go there that are coming out of the box, that they're actually playing with the financial reports and kind of manipulating them, or the basic out of the box stuff, in terms of like 12-month trending, current fiscal year stuff that we didn't have, or let's do a 12-month net change budget only. And you can look, or basically like a current month net change versus same month prior year net change buttons. So all of these new definitions that are predefined for you that you can select is going to make every financial person, giddy and, go, have a field day with that one.
Well, and also it's, again, starting points. You can take some of those definitions and adjust them to maybe something else you want to do. And so it sparks new ideas. And I don't have to learn it all from scratch day one, right? I just modify and go on.
Yeah, I think
the one thing that the users are going to have to get used to, though, is that you can't just display the report anymore. It's designed now. Back in the day, you could preview or print the report out 12 column. Now you have to export it out to Excel and do your formatting there. So that's something that the users are going to have to get used to doing, because you can't just print and do a hard copy of the report. You have to actually export it and put it into an Excel spreadsheet to see all the columns that you want. So
have you tried that with the new definitions?
Yeah, because the report itself, look at the report. There's only so many columns now. In fact, I think the last time I looked, there's only 4 columns. Like it'll display 4 columns and then it wraps it around. If you do not do the export to Excel, the view of it is, and Steve, you saw that with that company that we were doing a report for, where I showed you the format, and it's like, well, they're going to have to export it to Excel if they want all the columns. It works.
That's a good point.
The export.
Yeah. Very good point. So.
Yeah, I mean, because you could define a report that has 20 columns, and you can't print all that on. If you printed it, you wouldn't be able to see it. Yeah.
There's some other cool little tools.
Even back in the day,
oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's very true. Mm-hmm. What does everybody think about the new feature subscriptions? I mean, this one, I think, for all of us, it hit us hard because, as we are people who both implement software for our customers and supports the software, we also kind of use it in our obviously the combined business to basically, we use it for subscription reasons. People who subscribe to, say, BC licenses or people who subscribe to a service and need a monthly bill for, say, support, whatever the case may be. But I mean, I played with it for a while. It's a great starting point. It was a great, like, that first stepping stone, that first step we take as a child, and, ooh, look what we got. We made our first steps. And I was like, this is amazing. I mean, there's a lot of fun in it. I mean, and it works. It really does its job. I mean, I'm sure in the next several years it'll get better. But what do we think about that one? That one made me so happy, and I was like, ooh, warm and fuzzy. I was like,
the things I'm frustrated about is that since they bought it from another partner, there are some features in there that the partner put in that are unique based on what the partner thought. And I will share with you that I had a client who they upgraded immediately to 25. They haven't gone live yet. We've been working with them in 24, hadn't gone live. And I was working with them to set up some dimensions or add some additional shortcut dimensions out there. And if you go out to General Ledger Setup, that app, that subscription actually pulls in and creates a default subscription dimension that's out there. And I said to them at the time, not realizing that was something that came over from subscriptions, like, hey, wait a minute, where'd that come from? And sure enough, it is related to the subscription feature. So it automatically, when you turn that on, it actually goes out and adds something to this General Ledger Setup. I'm like, whoa.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know that. I was excited about it, and I do want to learn how to use it, but it's a big add-on.
It's a big setup.
It's almost, well, that's it. And so how do we learn it, right? That's kind of where I'm stuck in, like, I've got to spend a lot of time figuring this out to be able to help my clients and to use it myself. And I was having trouble getting started.
I'm going to agree with you. That was the biggest hurdle I kept on having, is even the basic. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of the videos that are out there, kind of traipse you through it. But it was actually really knowing, where do I set up the contracts? Where do I set up the billing schedules? Where do I set up usage billing versus automated billing? Oh, wait, there's a deferral integration. How does that play into this? So there's so many things, because it's not just a little tiny little feature. It's a new module, subscription billing, and therefore it requires a little bit of setup. So it was painful in the beginning. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's kind of nice. It's got a few standard reports there. I really appreciated that from a billing perspective, if you've got recurring billing or subscription billing. But I mean, I'm hoping that over time they'll improve upon some of the things that they're hearing from users, like, hey, fix this, hey, fix that. And maybe, in the future wave, we'd see a little more improvement on it.
I kind of think of it
how
like,
to learn it, but I see it.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you asked about how do we learn it. It's kind of like when you wanted to learn intercompany, how much functionality, how much setup, who's your partners and all that other stuff. So it's kind of like that.
Yeah. But, I think you're right. I do equate it almost to service management or manufacturing in terms of its breadth and its intricacies. Very true.
But they don't consider it a premium, just part of the essentials.
Which is good. Which is good.
Very good.
I asked Microsoft not too long ago if they couldn't just put manufacturing and service in
service.
Essentials license. Yeah. And they said they didn't think that was going to happen anytime soon.
Okay, let me think about this.
Yeah, exactly. No. That's kind of how it was.
So here's a cool one, and this one I think Rob's gonna love this one.
Oh gosh.
They actually now archive service management documents. So we've had that in purchase. We have the purchase and the sales order side, remember, and the quotes and the blankets and all those other archives that we get on the two major functional areas. But now they archive service management related documents. So you can go back and look them up in the past as things might have changed or evolved, that tracing ability that you'll now have. So that was a cool feature. I thought it was kind of, it was long overdue. Don't get me wrong here.
So less of a stepchild now.
Well, no.
Yes.
So I was going through the other day some other stuff. Okay, I'm going to give you a big one. I'm going to give you a big one that makes it still a big stepchild. I'm going to give you this example. I do a sales order and I'm making an exchange for the customer. He's buying something more expensive. He's returning the other one. I can do a positive entry for what I'm purchasing or what he's selling, and I can do the negative to return it. I can do the same thing on purchasing when I'm buying something and I'm sending something back. You can't do that on service. And you know what? That's not going to happen for at least another year. So yeah, it's still a stepchild. Don't try and sugarcoat something.
I said all I said was less of a stepchild. I said less. I didn't say it was now not a step. I said less of a stepchild.
Hey, all you people listening to this video who do service, vote for the negative quantity on a service order, because that's what they're looking at for what they're going to do next.
In BC Ideas, right, Rob?
Just get a blog out there and say,
go vote. Yes. Yeah. I see people do it on LinkedIn. You should do it. Yes.
Yeah. Go vote. It's a must.
Well, we're so into voting these days.
Yeah. Hey, no, that's it. No more. They promised no more, nothing on TV.
Oh, I'm so tired of all that. Oh.
It's in the past. Please, let's all be quiet about it. We don't want our viewers to run now because we're going to go into that area of the world. But here's
what else have you seen?
Here's a cool feature that I thought was so long overdue because they added it to the sales and receivables side of the world. Do you know that you knew that you can predefine in a sales order, like to have a quantity 1 to appear when you're entering items. Well, they finally defaulted the quantity of 1 for accounts, just accounts on documents. So like a basic account, you can have it. So you can actually have that feature, the quantity of 1. I thought that was kind of cool because, when we enter GL accounts, and you kind of have to tab,
one.
Or you can relocate. You got to put a 1, but why not just have a 1? Because it's a GL account. You're not going to have 15. Maybe not, but don't get me wrong. But most of the time it's a GL, you put a 1. And that was like, finally, I can just have it predefined.
And is that a separate setting?
Yeah, it's basically, you'll actually go in there and it'll be predefined. Default the GL account quantity to 1. It's on the actual, you'll have it, just like you have sales and receivables set up, purchase and payable set up, you'll turn on the default the GL account on those for both of those setup pages. So you got the sales side,
GL account quantity.
Yeah.
There's also a default item quantity.
Yeah, I love that one.
I guess I didn't realize that was there. I knew you could default the item type in, but I didn't really even realize you could do the either quantity.
Yeah, I love the fact that they added those. This one I love more because of the GL concept. Because people like to do small, hit GL accounts a lot, especially on the purchase invoice side. And it's like you were like the stepchild. It's like, as Rob was saying, service was a stepchild. Well, this was like, think about all the bills you have to pay that are outside of items. And it's like you constantly had to put a stupid number 1 in every time. And everybody used to say, can you default this for me? And of course, you had to write a little mini extension. You had to make it happen and stuff like that. But it was just funny. And now that they've made it permanent, this was like, okay, finally, now people can just set it up on both sides. And it was like in purchase or sales, selling and stuff like that. I know it's not available, but if you do it,
they had to put that in there because people don't know how to use, and partners don't show them how to use the standard purchase codes and the standard sales codes. Because you can certainly say, I'm going to bring this sales code in or this, and you can put a quantity on there. You can even put dimensions on there. So that's one of those features that, again, stepping back further, we've had that for a while, and people don't even use that. So we've got to make it simpler for people, I guess.
I just had a user where I'm at right now finishing up a go
By the way,
live.
we were talking earlier about some of the big setups out there. Intercompany happens to be a big one. And then, we were just talking about subscription. We talked earlier, something else that's new. We were talking earlier about some of the big setups out there, outside the U.S. Intercompany happens to be a big one. And then, we were just talking about subscription billing. That's a big thing. But, something else that's new that we, again, we have audiences outside the U.S. I'm impressed with how many sustainability, especially, some of the states out there that are now tracking new too, and that's something else I think we're going to need to do. I'm impressed with how many people, especially, some of the states out there that are now tracking some different things out there. So, by the way, we may joke about, that's not for us now. Next big thing to learn over here, dude.
Yeah. And that's the reason Microsoft put it in, because it is required in Europe. And so, yeah, we're behind on it. We've been behind on green energy for a while anyway. But yeah, I think it's coming. And just,
Well, we're behind on checks too.
That's true. That's true. Having said that, I have a quick question. This is off topic a little. How many?
Nothing's off topic.
Oh, we're in potpourri. That's right. How many of your clients,
That's very true,
users that you talk to, are wanting a service where I can, kind of like an ACH file, but my file can include checks I want the bank to print, wires I want the bank to send, and of course the standard ACH. Are you seeing that as a trend? I feel like I'm seeing my clients want to be able to send all of that to the bank, not print checks anymore, and the wires are already in that file. The ACHs are in a file, and then here, bank, go do it for me.
That's been asked of me in the last, I'll say 2 years. So I'll just use a 2-year window. Mm-hmm. I've heard it about, let's say, 4 times tops. And it has come up, not where they can want to combine the file. I do know they want the file, period. Meaning they want
so 3 files would be fine.
Right. They want the wire and the ACH, and they again, I know banks classify them differently, which is the problem right there. An ACH is one thing, a wire is another. I get it. And then the people want the checks, the ability to not print checks anymore and let the bank do it for them. I know it's right now, it's all segmented. Sadly, even the base system, I mean, other than an app that can do the check, there are apps out there that are willing to do the checks. And I think the ACHs, don't know about the wire. Maybe I'm missing, maybe they do.
There is actually.
So yeah. They do it all. But again, it would be so much nicer to just have a single page, payment journal page, where I can bring everything in and it's classified. I'm going wire, I'm going ACH, or I'm a check. And maybe there's another flag that says send to, company app John Smith or whatever it is, and get it out the door on a single payment journal, because obviously BC is never, you can't combine, the multi,
right,
it's not allowed in BC, but it would be nice to just have a single sourcing file that just says third party do it all. Here you go. This will tell you what to do. But I mean,
I've seen a couple of those. I've seen a couple of these now, and there's a new add-on that's come out, and I saw one this week, and really what they're doing is they're saying, well, Yodlee is so unreliable, and so I wish Microsoft would listen to that and maybe have some options for the interfaces to the banks. It's just really hard to go do more and more add-ons for your clients every time. What?
We have so many banks over here. That's what makes it difficult is, every mom and pop has a bank,
Fair.
Oh,
and those mom and pops
so
are the ones that are the problems.
Yeah. I mean, Yodlee is unreliable. I mean, it's sporadic. There are ways that, whatchamacallit,
should we pause?
I think Rob, went into Rob, I don't.
That's how we think about Rob, going round and round in circles.
I was going to say, it's almost like he jumped on his horse. He's taking a lap around the block. Give him a second.
Oh my.
Hopefully he'll come back, and we'll give him a second here to come back. But while he is, the Yodlee thing bothers me a lot, because it does. The fact that it is unreliable, the fact that it is a bank statement pull service. It's not anything else. The fact that you do have to jump out to, hopefully he'll return with us and he'll jump in when he comes back, but we'll continue our conversation. But basically it's tough. I mean, there are new players coming out constantly saying, I can do it all. And it's kind of like you wonder, how are you doing this? But why isn't Microsoft looking to say, well, if these guys are better, then why am I keeping Yodlee around?
Yeah.
Because,
well, I think it goes back to, isn't that stronger in Europe than here? You think that's it?
It might be. I mean, it could be. I mean, considering that they're all, I mean, I look at Yodlee that, yeah, there are so many freaking banks in the United States. I mean, I don't know if there are as many. I mean, I'm sure there are banks all over Europe and other countries, and I'm sure you can find them if they're even in there. But you kind of wonder, like, if you talk to people in Australia, which is a very extremely large country, like, what do they use that makes, in BC versus, because we have Yodlee, and what do they, maybe there is an app that they all live and breathe by, and they pay a small fee for that app or whatever it is. And, but it's amazing. I mean, I think we really did lose them.
Well, I didn't mean to take us down that path too long, but I'm hearing AP automation every other day,
Yes.
right? And my question to people is, well, what is AP automation to you? Is it the input and creation of your AP invoices? Is it how you pay AP? So what, because to me, that's a broad topic when you say AP automation. And some of them say, oh, no, it's just how, getting the payments done. And some say, oh, yeah, it's the creating the invoices. And some are both, right? So, but I don't think every AP automation service out there provides both.
No, I think.
I didn't say they don't. I just said I don't think all of them do.
Yeah, I think that's something that. Yeah, I think that's something that I wish some of the AP automation tools I use would provide both. I know they don't today, and I know there are people who provide more of the actual payment side of AP automation, which is the payment side versus the processing side. And the two don't combine themselves yet. I'm sure, I know somebody who has, I think they offer it today, if I'm correct. They offer both
sides.
They both offer both sides, because I think they merged with a couple of companies this past year to get there. So it is fascinating. They're moving to that, but I do agree they are moving to that, and it is becoming the hottest topic because the savings, I guess, alone are astronomical from what they're saying between the scanning of the documents and automating that side of input and the payment side. That's a there's a huge reduction of expenses and time. I mean, I look at people who manually sit there and, don't want to get into AP automation. And
it's a lot of work.
This is the typing side. And then, you can do an attachment. Oh, let me scan this. Okay, drag and drop. Yeah. Okay, next. So I'm thinking that's like a robot in some degree, because all you're doing is being very repetitive, whereas you set a system up once and you just keep scanning these things, and it does it for you.
And now you review them, right? Yep, you're not hands down typing. You're more of a reviewer and a checker. I hate that Rob we've lost him today, because he had some really good insight as to kind of the focus for going forward into 2025 and some of the things that will be coming out, I guess, next year.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I've heard for future, the only limited information I had for the next wave was, again, they're coming out with a new AI.
I saw that.
What in the December
tell viewers in layman's terms what this is going to do for them, Steve.
So this is really cool, and the reason I know it's so cool is I actually was part of a group that actually got to see it and play with it prior to it being announced. So it's the ability to take a sales position. I just think of somebody who's in customer service, order entry, and I think of taking their job to the next level with the application of AI. Or AI, the co-pilot actually activities. So think of it this way. I'm an order taker, and I'm sitting there on the phone call with a customer, or I'm thinking of something, and I've got a quick question. I can ask the system, please, please create a reply based on this, or I need to look something up that. And the whole notion of almost like making an AI for a job, physically for a named position, a role. I'll go back to our role centers, when we think about our profiles, right? The profiles. So it's taking this order entry processor, customer service person, and actually applying various ways of where as your data entering and communicating, and you've got these questions you need to ask real quickly to it, you can actually ask these AI Copilot questions to it and actually tell it, hey, please prepare a quick reply, and then it prepares a quick reply to the customer. And it's like, send it via email. Or maybe you need to look something up, is it, am I really going to have this on, am I really going to have this inventory available on us, but it's just the whole notion of not having to, I guess, pick up the phone, or send an email the old fashioned way. I hate saying it like that. I feel so old saying it. But it's using AI, it's using the Copilot in your job to get instantaneous answers to things that normally you would have been, hey, can I put you on hold for a second? Hold on. Listen to the music. Do, 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 do. There's our Jeopardy theme. We did a whole session with
Jeopardy. Yeah.
So for Jeopardy for Summit.
We're going to try another one and be a little better at it next time.
But I was like, when I first saw it for the very first time, it was like one of these, you're hesitant, and I was really hesitant. What's it really going to do for a person? And I was playing along, and I was following a script and, playing along and doing different things to test various areas. And I'm sitting there going, I was like, the old kid in the candy store. I'm like, holy shit, this is like so cool. I'm like, this is like the coolest thing. It's like, now I see some AI. And look, I love the bank rec. Don't get me wrong here. I do.
It's okay.
It needs improvement. But I mean, here for the first time, I'm actually doing something in a job that when I say to myself, this is really something related to a human being's job, that yes, it's finally helping me. As a human being,
right.
It's helping me do my job better, and it's not taking away my job. I didn't eliminate my job. It's just I gave myself a little tools to make my job faster and more efficient so I can do other things. So I said, oh my God, this is so cool. I mean, and then I started thinking about other positions, like, where else can this help me? Like, could it help me as an AP clerk? Could it help
I think
me as
manufacturing. When you say that, I go to manufacturing right off the bat, because I don't understand all of the algorithms for what it's suggesting that we make and buy. And it would be nice to be able to understand that a little more and say, just ask questions, or, how did you get to this number? Or I don't know, but something that would you're almost teaching people, but you're also providing them tools to do their jobs better, right? And I think sales is a great one to start with, because we live and breathe by our sales, right? So if I've got some customer service people that will embrace this, I feel like I'm going to be better to my customers. I'm going to provide more service, and if I do that, then they stay they stay loyal, and I get more.
It's so true. I mean, I really started to think about what are the possibilities out there, and you think about could AI take us to the next level? And I know there are ideas out there to do this, because could AI help us with better planning? Don't get me wrong, the planning worksheets, it's a tool. It's the only tool we have today. And you can look at apps, don't get me wrong. But out of the box Business Central, we have a planning worksheet. That planning worksheet provides us what I should buy, make or buy, gives us the make or buy decision. But why not add AI into the mix and let AI add an extra element of what if, and look at a trend of sales for the last 4 months. Let's use a 4-month window, a trend of sales of 6 months, maybe some setups that say, well, but how would you like AI to think about this? Well, the last 4 months you've had no sales. Why in the heck would you want to manufacture more in a forecast, you idiot? I'm trying to be it should come back and be I think it should use the Alex Trebek kind of voice saying that, and it's kind of funny, but and let it.
This is totally when you said that about Alex Trebek and Jeopardy. Do you know there was a a question on, or the answer on Jeopardy was, men don't make passes at.
Oh, that was on the news. I heard about this. It made the
Yes.
news.
Yes. And of course, one of the contestants was a female wearing glasses. But when you said that, my brain went there. But honestly, I think it's exciting. I've, we talked, I guess a year ago now, on how do we see AI really helping us, right? Because what we saw first was it's going to write descriptions for us.
Yeah,
Great,
like,
and that was kind of cool, right? And now it's going to match numbers in bank rec. Great, that saves time. But now we're starting to really see what AI can do. I was on a meeting yesterday and somebody said, "Oh, we have a note taker." And somebody said, "Oh, who is it? Can I meet the person?" They go, "It's not a person, it's AI taking notes of the meeting, and then we'll give follow-up suggestions." I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I was like, that's an app I might want to have, right? To sit in a meeting and let it take notes. Yeah, it's kind of becoming a new world with that.
It's going to be impressive. I mean, it's going to be really cool to see what their next big area they're going to want to play AI into. But I mean, they do have choices. Yeah. I still think some of it maybe is not ready for prime time. I mean, the warehouse one really is tough for me. My head is about a person picking and putting away and receiving. So again, AI might not be, my head's not thinking about it yet.
Yeah, because it's really supposed to be more driven by your setups and things like that, not by people making a decision. Now, that's very fair. But from a management standpoint, what kills me about warehouse management is that we don't use it as a warehouse manager is supposed to, right? I'm supposed to be able to pull up, here's all of my
order
shipments and receipts, and I'm trying to schedule who's going to do what, and I'm working with my team, and I'm looking at that. Instead, we do a warehouse shipment for every sales order. And we don't. But a manager's not sitting there looking at this. Oh, this is not going to get out today. We move it to tomorrow. Whatever. I think if I was working from the management standpoint, maybe I could come up with some AI things, but I think 90% of all warehouse management is done on one-offs, just one-for-ones, and not a manager really sitting there analyzing and scheduling their people. That's my 2 cents.
It'll be interesting. 2 cents. I mean, there's a couple of other small things, let's digress. And there's a couple of other small little tools that came out. The whole notion of replenishing items for projects. I know you can combine POs and do things in projects. That's never happened before. That's always been.
And that's really great.
That. You can finally analyze and do some analyze on the fixed assets and the subscription billing in Power BI.
Oh, yeah.
They added that small little feature.
Yep.
I know they did a lot of things around Shopify, but I'm not going to go into that. I think only because.
I was going to say, do you use Shopify? Do you have clients that use Shopify much? It's a big area, but I don't have anybody that's really that's their thing.
I've not had one yet. I mean, I have one now that I'm working on, but ironically enough, they used a private extension to talk to Shopify, not the out of the box one. So it kind of digressed away from what was in base. So it didn't matter. The extension took over. So it just didn't matter what base had. I think I kind of wondered why and I guess it's just maybe the extension was much more feature rich than I guess BC had. So I guess that's the way they played it up. So, but I wasn't part of that decision-making process. They did add directed pick and put away with projects. If somebody goes down that path, but I know there's not many, who, when you get into that directed pick and put away, that's a whole mindset change. And that's a really rigid way of looking at things. If you're an organization that uses that kind of philosophy and process. So it is available now in projects. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's nice.
And like I said, there was tons of Shopify stuff in here that this must have been the year
Yeah,
of
I did see that.
Shopify, and Power BI. Those were like the two biggest ones that I can think of. But it was kind of cool, and I'm hoping that in the next wave, our first wave of 2025, that we all know AI is going to be there. It's a fact of life. I think from forever and ever and ever. But I'm hoping they actually do some more, maybe some more warehousing and manufacturing or something in those areas. Small things, but little things that can help us out. That might tweak here and tweak there. Maybe something in the realm of just anything in the financial area too. Just little toys that help us out, that are quick wins.
I like that we're getting some big chunks done in areas, but I really would like to see a little bit more level playing field where manufacturing gets some, service gets some. It feels like there's a real focus on like projects got a lot, service got a lot, right? Manufacturing didn't get that much in 24, right?
No.
And so maybe the pendulum swings, but I think it's really hard to say, well, the focus is all going to be manufacturing in 25, and then the people with projects and service are going, but wait, I just need this, right? It would just be nice to see, I think, a little bit more level there. I am thrilled that there's a lot of focus on reporting. I know I credit a lot of that to Kenny and pushing that. And it's not just one area. It's the operations. It's the, upper management. It's, more user capability in reports. So I love all of that. And that's something everybody needs. And I did see that in like sales and receivable setup, they kind of broke, and we've got a couple of new fast tabs. They move bank deposits and prices. I wish they'd do a little bit more of that because the general tab is so long. You can't even fit it on a screen. Because there's just more and more setups, right? When you try to do a training class, you could spend a day just talking about setups, right? And what they do. And it's a lot.
It's pretty funny. Looking at the future and where kind of things are headed, it's kind of like a great way we can transition into this as we're kind of wrapping up our talk today. But 2025 is going to be a hot year. They announced at Summit. Obviously there's the Summit, 2025 in Orlando, Florida. We know that there's a Dynamics Con in Chicago in May. We know that that's coming up in the 2025. We know that obviously EMEA, which is a partner conference, will be held in November of next year in Poland. We have our Directions North American Conference, so the partner conference here in the United States and Canada. That one will be in Las Vegas next year in April. And we also have the Summit Road shows, which they did announce they're going to do about, I think it was about a little under, somewhere between 20 and 24 road shows this year versus the 10 they had this past year. Actually, might have been less than 10 because I think one was canceled due to scheduling problems. But, that's a lot of road shows around the U.S. To see and learn Business Central and other products, and to meet our friends and colleagues like ourselves at these road shows and have some fun learning and networking and just have some, and it's free. At least the road shows are free. There's no charge to anybody who wants to attend.
Well, and just to not to leave Doug out, but they have meetups around the country, around the world actually, but around the country. And I think people forget there's so much of capability out there now, and both Doug and the user group have websites where articles get posted and webinars get done and hosted. There's a national webinar by the user group every month, and there's 2 little training session parts of that. So it doesn't take much to find some help out there. Yeah. There are discussion boards as well. A lot of times those get kind of technical, but there's, when I started, there was like nothing to go to but the blue book that sat on the desk, right? You had to pull it out of the little case and try to find something. There was nothing online. There was no YouTube. And Microsoft's YouTube channel for Business Central is great. I use it.
Yeah,
Although, don't do what one of my clients did and go out there and follow that and then just try to implement it, right? Especially don't do it in production.
Yeah, I mean, it's that YouTube channel has grown from like nothing to like, it's in like, what do they say? You can jump in a Maserati and do like 0 to 60 in 2 seconds kind of scenario. I'm using probably the wrong car, but it's kind of like that. It went from nothing to like phenomenal. I mean, the training videos or the snippets, I'll call them, are just really good now compared to the way they were. And it's very informational and I love it. I mean, the one thing
progress.
Yeah. And one big thing before we kind of, say goodbye to our friends or listening to us, I think the biggest thing is that 2025, the year, is going to be phenomenal, both because there's going to be a lot of new stuff coming out, the ideas that they've been thinking about this, that they've kind of hinted on for 2025, both wave 1 and wave 2. But there will be functionality, hopefully in different areas. Again, AI going to grow more and more and more. More Power BI reporting, because obviously they have a new built-in tool that they can expand upon and go crazy with. So then now they can start building new ones that are out there. And hopefully they'll start pulling in some of that stuff that, that people can, I don't want to call it volunteer. I guess maybe it's called volunteer, but people who have code that they feel would be good in the product, they can put it on the GitHub, I guess, area.
They're doing more and more of that. Yeah.
And pulling it in as part of the software after it's reviewed and approved. But the more people who have these cool tools they don't want it to be an app. They just want it to be free to the world. More and more we're going to see more and more of that. And then obviously the new,
that helps everybody.
So I'm excited about
everybody.
That.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we are at the time of our, the time that we love to stop here. And I know we think everybody's got places to go and people to see. So a big thank you to everybody listening. A big thank you. We hope to have a really good one in December for the holidays. We're going to pick a topic, hopefully have
and maybe Rob can stay with us this time.
Maybe he can magically stay on instead of magically dropping off. We haven't figured out why, considering he is in a hotel. I guess he had a meeting this morning, but he was in a safe spot in the hotel unless there was a battle in Houston, I guess, somewhere or something like that. But, maybe they did the Alamo again.
They might have thrown him out because he had on the wrong hat today.
Yeah, I was going to say he wore the black hat instead of the white hat. They thought it was an evil person, so...
oh, God. Bye, everybody.
Bye. See you next time.